The Discovery Channel, one of my favorites, has produced a documentary proclaiming that the tomb of Jesus has been found. Is this claim valid? The answer is no. When the tomb was first uncovered in 1980, the original archaeologist recorded all the names found there, noted each of them, and went on about their archaeological work and careers, making no such claim. In the mid-1990s, the BBC came along, made a documentary proclaiming this is the tomb of Jesus, and there was an outcry from the scholarly community that sent that documentary quickly into oblivion. Why? Because the names of Mary, Jesus, and Joseph were some of the most common of the era in first century Judea and Galilee. But let's look at the names found there. First, the one and only inscription that was done in Greek. The one that the producers claim is Mary Magdalene's final resting place. But does it say Mary Magdalene there? Absolutely not. It says Mary, known as Master. Maria Memne Amara. Quite different from Mary of Magdala, Mary the Magdalene. Well, why would they say that this is Mary Magdalene? Well, they quote a Harvard scholar as saying that the early Christians referred to Mary Magdalene by this title and name. Did they? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John used the Greek Mary of Magdala, Mary the Magdalene, not Mary known as the Master. And then they quote a Harvard scholar as referring to the Acts of Philip, a late 4th century, early 5th century work of religious fiction. This sort of a combination of the Chronicles of Narnia and the Lord of the Rings, replete with dragons and talking animals. And it tells the story of Philip and his sister Mary, the Strong, going around evangelizing in the 1st century. The stories are incredible. They would make a good animated movie. But they certainly don't reflect what the faith reflects in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. But even there, that Mary is not in this early 5th century document referring to Mary Magdalene. At least not in the earlier versions. About a third of that document has been lost. You could find it on the internet simply by Googling the Acts of Philip text. I'd give you the URL, but it's about that long. The scholars from Harvard, however, have found a 14th century version and copy of it that's expanded, and perhaps there is some allusion to this Mary being also Mary Magdalene. But I'm just a country theologian. I certainly don't see it. So what's written on that box does not say Mary of Magdala. But now let's look at the next very important inscription in ancient Aramaic, scratched on the box that supposedly contained the bones of Jesus of Nazareth. And it says, Jesus, son of Joseph. Most scholars agree that's what the inscription means. But ancient Semitic inscriptions are notoriously hard to interpret. One scholar, at least, from the University of the Holy Land found in Jerusalem, Stephen Fawn, says he believes that it doesn't say Jesus, son of Joseph, but Hanun, son of Joseph. Which, if that's the case, the whole documentary immediately collapses. But even if it does say Jesus, son of Joseph, such inscriptions were found on many ancient tombs because the names were so common. But even here we have to be careful, because we only know the name of Jesus in the New Testament in its Greek form, and we don't know which version of Aramaic Jesus used in describing himself. There were many versions. The same with the name Mary. There are at least 13 and maybe many more variations of the name Mary in ancient Semitic languages. And this too knocks their statistical studies out of line, because there's just no way of knowing how Mary spelt her name in Aramaic or in Hebrew. So we have to be very cautious even there. But there is nothing in that tomb which really convincingly points to any New Testament figure. The name Matthew is used there, but Matthew was not a relative of Jesus according to the New Testament documents and sources. Also, one of the producers is connected with the famous or infamous box of James, the brother of the Lord, which they actually bring up in this documentary, which was found to have faked inscriptions on the box by the Israeli Department of Antiquities. View this documentary, but do it with an active, informed mind, and your faith in Jesus will not be shaken. But your faith in documentary filmmakers might be. God bless you.